So first up at recommended Shiv Zero de Nova in the chat, we're going to be checking out The Soul of Sonic Stories by ALtheBoi. I know a bit about Sonic, if only because I played Sonic Adventure and frequently lost at all the SNES and Sega Saturn versions. Yeah, I'm not good at the games because they require actual hand-eye coordination. But they're freaking awesome, man. I've heard music from the new one. Need to get around to play that someday. Also figure out if they're owned by Nintendo or not. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, I want to jump in and see where this goes.
So he comes up to me saying, yo, you gotta play this Sonic game. Then I look at it.
Drum intro.
It's Sonic holding a sword. What? I mean...
Oh, yeah, there was Sonic in the Knight version, which was him as a knight. Yeah, they made a lot of weird ones. I think my wife watched the Game Grumps play that version.
Come on, what's the deal with these storybook games, huh?
Storybook games?
They're
Oh, is that
weird,
what they're
right?
called?
Conceptually, I mean, you read a book and then you say,
Secret
okay, this shit
rings?
is fire, but what did it have Sonic in it, though? There's a very specific space that Sonic occupies where it's weird, but not too weird. Like, there's a 6-foot-tall crocodile with his ninja chameleon buddy who work as detectives, but he's also
Really?
gonna pay rent. Like, let's not...
Really? That's actually in Sonic? I'll be honest, I actually had no idea about that. Also, Moon God, thank you very much, man. And wait, no name? Burger Creek Marauder and Nefandi Videos going to give some fine context for stuff. And Norfolk Wizard Game. Honestly, I do want to check them out, but we're probably going to do the traditions first because I hear they build off those more than anything else.
Get crazy here.
Darn, I forgot to pay the electric bill for the office.
And Sonic has always thrived on this weirdness. There's probably a real name for it, I don't know, but you don't got...
Wait, what did that say? Dreamlike? Oh, the word for it. Dreamlike contemporary sci-fi fantasy core? Honestly, I just say Sonic aesthetic at this point.
Well, you don't gotta be a genius to see it. If any Sonic game goes too much into either direction, you notice it.
Oh, wow. You know, I wasn't sure what he was talking about, and then this does kind of show it, because this is like someone went into GTA 3 and dropped in a Sonic mod. That is weird. But then there's the other one, which is
It
just
feels a little off. I think the inherent vibe of whether something feels Sonic-y enough is derived from that specific, one-of-a-kind sense of wonder. From the worlds to the characters to the storytelling. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we gotta talk about Spider-Man.
You know, there was a lot of transitions I was not expecting. The Spider-Verse was not one of them. Also, I do need to watch this movie. Movies. I think it's plural now. Yeah, I haven't done that. Need to do that.
So you know about the hero's journey, right? It's from this...
Oh, we're going into actual lit major stuff. I might be aware of some of this shit. You know, a video about Sonic is not exactly what I thought would bring up the thing I actually have a master's in, but I'm not complaining.
Book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces by a dude named Joseph Campbell. He basically says that every tale follows and can only follow this very specific structure, the hero's journey. He also said that whoever likes and subscribes has some big fat nuts. Really ahead of his time, this guy. And
So this guy actually went in, found the page, and edited it just to get that in there. Oh my, I don't... For anyone wondering, the hero's journey is one of, I think, 7 generic templates that almost every story follows after, because they generally just make good fiction, because it shows the beginning and middle and end of how things progress in a certain way. Hero's journey is one of them. Another is the Jesus story. It doesn't always have to be based on those specific things. It doesn't have to be a hero to fit into a hero story. It doesn't have to be a story about Jesus or religion to fit into a Jesus story. But usually the Jesus story is more like someone who is really good, doing good things, and then sacrificing themselves, and sometimes it involves coming back or not. But that's more of a self-sacrifice story, but it's called a Jesus story because usually it's involving higher power and morality. The hero's journey is like, I start as nothing, I build up to something great. And you see the struggle from beginning to end. And sometimes that involves tropes such as Journey to the Underworld, which is usually a classic component of it, but it doesn't have to be. The thing about these very, very specific definitions of how a story is formatted is that they're generalizations at the absolute best. But they're not a bad guideline anyways, because even if the story isn't always the same, it gives you familiar elements. You kind of have an idea what you're getting into, and it becomes a trope because people actually like it. Also, Moon God, thank you for another membership, man.
anyway. Now, that's kind of dumb because his initial framework was very strict and specific, but I also can't deny
Oh, he's doing that version? Oh. I thought he was going to talk about the more modernized one. And Moongod, you sent another membership already? God damn. Thank you, man.
its prominence is fucking everywhere. There's a very high chance that your favorite story follows some kind of a hero's journey. It's just a pretty
E.T. kinda, but it's not really a hero's journey on that one. Although this is debatable because it kind of fits, but usually there's a lot more movement. And for that one, that's more of a... I think there's a trope after the Odyssey, but it's been so long I actually forgot what it was called. I'd only say that because it's more of escaping from a contained location, which is kind of what a lot of that movie was about, but not entirely. It's hard to put. Again, they're not guidelines. They're more... Well, actually, they are guidelines, not hard rules.
Solid framework to use, because essentially it's a more complicated 3-act structure, with the first act being the setup, where you get introduced to the characters, relationships, and the struggles, then boom.
Inciting incident.
The inciting incident is what kicks everything off. Shit already hit the fan, bro. The status quo is gone. Nowhere to go but Act 2. The confrontation is where you face the conflict directly and you fail over and over again. The theme just bashing you over the fucking head until it doesn't. By the time you're in Act 3, the resolution begins. And with one final climax, you're finished with your journey. And it's...
I know this is how this book is being put forward as the hero's journey as the 3-act structure, but that is not entirely accurate for what the hero's journey has been defined as one of the tropes. I think we might be looking at a case of what I'm thinking of the hero's journey is a story trope, and what he's looking at as is how someone defined a 3-act structure, and they just happen to be using the same words, which doesn't happen often, but also it doesn't not happen often. Huh.
At this point that a lot of you are probably asking, Al, what the fuck does this have to do with Sonic? Well, that's the thing, it doesn't. Try this for a sec. Pick your favorite Sonic game and try to apply this to it.
I mean, technically, that would be adventure, and that was, you get in, you have that opening mission of, this is cool, and Sonic is everywhere, and it's great music. And then you have the initiation, which is the entire damn video, and then you have Return, which is usually like the 5 seconds afterwards. Huh.
I don't think you can, because the principle of the hero's journey is the transformation from ordinary to special by gaining something or losing something else. And that's just not how Sonic stories work. Sonic doesn't make this journey. Heroes isn't about Sonic learning the value of friendship, it's about the value of friendship, and we learn it through Sonic. You can't have him learn it all over again, he already knows it. You can't teach him to slow down and smell the roses, he already does that. You see how every time they try to teach Sonic a lesson, it's a little forced? Teaching a lesson is absolutely fine, but using him as the conduit just won't work. It's the biggest pit you can fall into while you're writing Sonic. Understandably so, the hero's journey is so fucking ubiquitous. In fact, it's what a lot of...
So I'm just going to be upfront about this one. I don't know nearly enough of the Sonic series to understand a lot of the references he's making. I didn't know they were treating him as... or that it would fail as someone forced to be the person learning. I mean, a lot of games, they get around that with recurring characters, but they just say, okay, new take, we're starting over. And then you just start from the beginning again with the same storyline, but you have them learn because it's a new version of them. I guess if Sonic is just himself every time, you can't really learn the same lesson twice. Although you could definitely forget it more than once. Also, Croc, you mentioned talking about Jesus stories. It was a big part of the 19th century Polish literature, with Poland being a martyr for all of Europe, for all the suffer. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Adaptations do. They change Sonic's character for the journey to work. That's why getting mad at Archie or the movies for not being faithful is valid, but also kind of dumb because they're so...
Marriage of Princess Sally? Okay, that is a thing. That is a thing.
Far removed, like they're clearly not trying to be accurate adaptations or canon, unless they are.
What?
Allegedly, I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, focus. This is what we're talking about. Game Sonic, focus. The backbone of the hero's journey is a philosophical idea that every person goes through one of their own, and these stories help guide us through it. That's why it's so important for a Spider-Man story to be so human. It's a direct reflection of the ups and downs any person goes through, rather than one who embodies some central static value or ideal. Peter, or any other Spider-Man, embraces his humanity. All the shit he goes through is what makes him grow. It's what makes us grow.
Probably not you specifically. I think it's a metaphor.
To cut it short, you're not supposed to find Sonic relatable. Not on.
Huh? No, no. Did I miss something here? I was following with him until he said that. Like, you find
What he goes through is what makes him grow. It's what makes us grow.
Probably not you specifically.
Oh, and that's why I put the clip in there, not you specifically. See, this is more of a discussion that I've actually had with people, where some people say relatable is getting to see someone grow, and you get to see them suffer, you get to see them fail, you get to see them succeed, and you relate to them through that effort. Where other times I take the take of, while you can empathize through that, you can also empathize through just experiencing similar situations yourself. Well, you're never going to be experiencing the situation of being a anthropomorphized Sonic Hedgehog style, whatever he actually is supposed to be. Let's be honest, it's definitely not a hedgehog, but even though he's supposed to be one, running around at the speed of sound, and I'm not going to quote any further because it actually will get the stream claimed, but that is not going to be relatable because you're not going to experience that. But just going out there, running, having fun, hearing music, and feel like this is cool is very much a relatable thing, because that's something we all want to see. And Zero, thank you for 10 gifted memberships. And Moon, you said multiple more. Wow. Yeah. Oh God, you guys jacked up the timer to 7 hours. I might actually have to take out the 3 hours I put in there to start with, because holy shit, man. God damn. That could be a problem. But, sorry, I lost track of time when I saw time. So what I'm basically saying is, I don't agree with this point right now that you're not supposed to find Sonic relatable. You are, but it's the relatable is the, hey, I like this kind of goofy, wacky blue Sonic version of bullshit. It's cool, and that's fun, and I like that. Which is a form of relatability. The I would like to have a drink with this person is a relatable way to look at something. Not, I have understood his suffering, I have seen his triumph, which is also a way to find someone relatable. It does go either way.
Sort of level anyway. Listen, Sonic is flawed. Sure, he's still a person, one who you can relate to.
I'm sorry. What game? It's probably the Black Knight game. That is weird. Still not as off-putting as the GTA style graphics, though.
Everyone loves a chili dog, right? But the main appeal of his character isn't whether you can fit in his shoes or not. You like.
Also, Croc, you mentioned you fell for the classic blunder of subathons. Yeah, making the memberships 10 minutes each. I'm going to change that after the video.
Peter, because you relate to his struggles, and seeing him overcome them inspires you to do the same. Sonic inspires you by existing.
Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, who's your hero? And I said, it's me in 10 years. So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, so are you a hero? And I was like, not even close. She said, why? I said, because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero is always 10 years away. I'm never
going to be completely honest. I can't stand motivational speeches. Every time I hear one, without fail, all I can think in the back of my head is, this guy is saying some really nice sounding shit, but it means nothing. Personal opinion, I just find them disingenuous. I know for a lot of people it does actually help, and if you can find meaning in something, good, because that's really the only part that matters. I don't, because I just keep thinking, this person is just bullshitting to people and telling what he thinks they want to hear. Yeah. It's kind of like when someone finds gems to give them good energy. I think it's bullshit. But if it helps you, keep doing it, man. Ooh, also, meet me. Currently crafting on my... I'm just going to pull the chat over so you guys can actually see it. Currently crafting on my desk while watching this. Just made a mechanical monster based around a pot enchanted as a bag of holding? Okay, that's cool. I'm not sure what's up with the button, but okay, I'm not going to touch that. That is glitching out on me. And Thomas, by the way, if you're interested, Berger gave a video about vampire politics and how I hate ads on lives. Odd thing for him to put on a video, but okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this. The video is crushing that. That is weird. Yeah.
I'm gonna be my hero. I'm not gonna attain that. I know I'm not, and that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing.
There is a lot of Sonic media I have not caught up on. A lot of it looks pretty good, though. I heard Sonic Boom was actually surprisingly well done. Never saw it, just memes.
So, you know how to write Sonic. Great. You're already ahead, buddy. Put him in a story, then. Yeah, motherfucker, you do it, then. If it's so easy, what's the plot, huh? You do it. Sonic is versatile as fuck, and you can put him anywhere. Literally anywhere. When Naoto Oshima calls Sonic a fairy, he's not being cute and gay. I can say that. It doesn't matter where.
I mean, you're not in Japan, so you could say it. If he was in Japan, you would get sued for using actual still images from this franchise rather than the Eclipse themselves, in which case they would put you in jail because they've done that for still images on a YouTube video. Yeah.
Or when, or how big or small the problem is, Sonic will show up when you need him. That random moment of confidence, a stroke of brilliance.
I mean, it's really good animation. But if you told me this was a Sonic game, I would not believe it. It still looks weird to me. Also, holy shit, you guys are dropping a lot today. And Strug, you mentioned it would be cool if you could react to Affairs of Passing Gods, Rain World's full story. Funny you should mention that. I may or may not pull that up. Unless it was a Curious Archive video, in which case, oh, that's a mistake.
A shining ray of hope. A fairy.
I'm sorry,
Shining ray of hope. A fairy.
You have a very different understanding of what a fairy is than I do. He's probably going the Tinkerbell Disney version of a fairy, not the more classical, a fairy! Hi, do you want to break rules? It's good. I like when people break rules. I get to eat them. Yeah, no. I've read enough fiction where fairies are treated in the old school style where that is not what I'm thinking about a fairy. I get where he's coming from, but not where I would go. Which is perfectly fine if he does go that way. It makes perfect sense. If you're taking more of the Disney Tinkerbell style, being hopeful, being that little bit of magic to make the world better, that's great. But that is not where I would take it. Also, Quantum, do we do Never Yet? Nope, this is the first world. We've been doing this for less than an hour, and we're already at 7 hours and 30 minutes. I'm going to go in and take out the 3 starting hours I put in, because it looks like you guys didn't need that. Goddamn.
Pretty awesome when you start seeing this. It's exactly what some of my favorite stories do. It's why Sonic's supporting cast and random one-off companions are so important, because they're really the ones taking the spotlight. Silver's story is about Silver, Shadow's about Shadow, but Sonic's is about Elise. The story is about whoever Sonic's...
Oh, so he's... I was thinking Tinkerbell style fairy, then I realized, no, oh god, he's a less annoying Navi.
With, and through him, the companion is inspired to do whatever they need to do for the story, whatever the theme is. This is where you just empty out all the development and the character arcs you want. But remember, Sonic himself doesn't change. The character arc happens because the way a character exists initially is challenged. Their core convictions fail them, making it so they have to experience change. Now, do they have to change? Not necessarily. A character arc doesn't have to be an arc like this, it can be like this. But none of this shit even...
Yes, and there's also the way of just... not changing because you decide you've made the right choice, but being challenged in that decision, which is not the most common one. And honestly, it's really hard to write that. So yeah.
It matters when you're talking about Sonic, because his convictions are never challenged in the first place. That's what being static means. It doesn't mean he's flawless. It means when you're dealing with a super complex character like Shadow, there's a lot of drama you can get out of his mindset and conviction, even if he sticks to them. With Sonic, he doesn't even give a fuck. Forget changing. This motherfucker is never even tempted because his convictions are what drive the story forward, not the other way around. He is the one who inspires change. We literally have so many characters for that specific reason.
For another example of exactly that kind of character, more traditionally, it's Superman. It's someone who isn't usually, except for some of the newer movies, treated as the guy who has to learn to be good. It's the guy who is good And you got to see, this is someone who is good. They're doing good. They're being good. And it's not that they're the best, Superman is, of course, but it's that they keep doing it despite everything. That is what that kind of character is supposed to be. Then they decide to fuck around with it. I don't just mean in the current movies. I mean, there's plenty of examples for the last 50 years of people thinking, but what if Superman did this? That's not even a joke. You could find some really weird old school Superman comics where it's like, we got to get used to this new hip generation of the 1950s. Yeah. So maybe just saying 50 years was an understatement on my part.
I'm sorry, okay? I'm being anal about this. I apologize. I'm just saying, okay? It's really important to keep in mind that Sonic isn't serialized. I know we like to pretend that there's this grand overarching story with an intricate timeline and world building where fucking everything connects. I'm like, no.
Is it? I don't know enough. I thought they were individual standalones, but he was just an everyman version of himself as the trope character for each one.
Man, come on. Be serious. Serialized implies that there's some kind of ending or conclusion we're moving towards, right? Like Avatar or Gravity Falls, where a story definitively ends. And Sonic just isn't this.
He feels more like an American sitcom character where nothing time-wise matters. It's always the same day, even if you have night breaks in between it.
I get Sonic games until he stops making money, or the movies take over, which is equally as bad. I think it's beautiful when
honestly, I wouldn't say the movies took over. It's more just the games were on a downward spiral and the movies inspire people to come back.
I finish a Sonic game and turn off the TV. These characters, these worlds, they don't stop existing. They live on without me. And the next time I come back, they're right there with a new adventure, new twist, and new ways to utilize these characters that I come back for. That's the basis of episodic storytelling. Like, if someone asks you, hey man, I really want to get into Sonic, where should I start? You don't tell them to play them in order, like they can, but fucking they're not gonna miss anything. Like they put up.
I mean, to be fair, starting with the old ones is not bad, especially if they have limited time. Or you hate them and they're terrible at hand-eye coordination. Can you imagine someone doing that? That would be silly. That would be so unbelievable.
Sonic 3, like,
yo, what the fuck? Who's that?
Unless it's explicitly a follow-up, episodic stories give you everything you need to know at the start.
Who the fuck is...
Adventure Time is a weird choice right here because while it is usually a very episodic format, and it mostly was meant that way, they kind of did over time build into actual plot progression where it wasn't fully episodic anymore and did have a plot line leading to a definitive ending with character growth and the arcs moving forward. So it's kind of a hybrid series, even if it probably wasn't intended that way.
Who's that?
Dude, it's Marceline, the vampire queen.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's why it's so important for everyone to always be in character, because at any moment, some kid can stumble onto Sonic, get a wrong impression, go on the internet and start fighting with some fucking nerd like me. Now I gotta deal with this shit. Adventure Time, Lupin.
Can you imagine a nerd online fighting about something? That would be weird. It's like, I just went on a rant about that. That would never happen.
Seinfeld, Bebop, SpongeBob. It doesn't matter what episode you jump in. An episodic series doesn't rely on its continuity.
Bebop is very much an exception there. It very much relies on continuity, but only at certain points. He's going because anything that could happen, you could just say happened and it wouldn't matter what time it is. Unless you're talking about before the series starts or at the very end of the series where Julia comes back. Anything between Spike leaving his previous organization, I'm trying not to spoil it, even though it's probably a couple decades old now, or Julia coming back, also that's probably a spoiler now that I think about it. Anything between those, you could do anything. It's very episodic. But outside of those, no, it does matter.
Obviously, we have story arcs over multiple episodes, or the fact that you just get more enjoyment out of being a fan. But, for the most part, every story stands on its own.
Hey, long time no see. How you been? Oh, me? I'm still me.
How many games
Enough
have I
chit
missed?
chat. We'll catch up on the way. Come on, let's get this party
Probably looks like
started.
quite a few. Okay, I think I recognize that girl with the lines, like the red lines. I know I've heard the music from it. It's absolutely amazing.
God fucking damn, bro, we're here.
I'm not even going to try and say this one. I'm not even trying. I'm not trying.
Finally, I gotta talk about what I think is the perfect structure for a Sonic story.
Oh?
Kishotenketsu is described as this mysterious, superior method of storytelling from the East. The structure with no conflict used in literature, such as rent a girlfriend.
You know, there's a lot of ways to break tension, and saying a superior structure of rented girlfriend is definitely one of them. I was thinking about watching that show, and then I saw memes of that scene. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like, this is someone just taking the off-brand because fuck it. There's no way they would actually, they'd actually, oh God, that was in it. How does it have 4 seasons? Yeah. Also, Thomas, by the way, if you could choose, would you choose to watch about mages, chaos mages, mummies, fae, or vampires? I mean, if I had time, I would do all of Bert Kruger's videos on those.
I'll give you my explanation because I don't think any of this shit is helpful. To put it simply, Kishotenketsu is the art of the 4-panel comic. Beginning, development, twist, conclusion.
Oh God, this almost perfectly fits with freaking Garfield. I mean, they drop it down to 3, so yeah. Huh.
That's it. It's not some mythical fucking Eastern way of living. It's a simple rhetorical device they used in poems in ancient China. And since then, we've been using it in comics, movies, and even game design. It's literally how they make Mario games. You get a power-up, you learn how it works, then there's a twist, and you finish the level with it. It's amazing how intuitive it is. So you can imagine how fun it would be to write a story using this as a structure. So, how?
I mean, that is not just how a lot of Mario or Sonic games go. That's a lot of gacha games where it's like, you get the power, you learn it out, you learn there's something weird about it, and then you move on. Yeah, that actually does seem to fit. But it also is close enough to the 3-plot structure. It almost feels like they're at the same idea, just approached from different ways. Not 3-plot, 3-act structure. And Meep, you mentioned imagine a reality collision between World of Darkness and SCP. I'm pretty sure that would be the World of Kane at that point.
You don't need a guidebook for this intro. Just drop me into the world. Whatever's going on, it doesn't matter. It's especially easy with Sonic since most of the time
Is he
it's
double
his
fisting chili dogs?
and he's really charming and cool. There's always something to show
double
with any
fisting chili
conflict
dogs.
that he faces. And yes, there is conflict. Obviously, Sonic still has battle.
I'm sorry. Did Sonic literally just sweep what looks like a princess off her feet? What was I missing? Oh my God. That's
Shown in DNA. Most of the shit is conflict. It's just that the conflict
Yuzu
doesn't
Kaisen.
drive the story. The planet breaks in Unleash, and that's a conflict Sonic deals with, but that's just the plot. It's not what the story is about, so the game doesn't treat it as this big emotional thing. Instead, it shifts its focus to Chip and his story because he is the emotional anchor of this whole thing. Me wanting to explore the themes completely hinges on me being invested in whatever setting you put me in. So first impressions, vibes, tone, intrigue, it's really important for the opening scene to be impactful, emotionally or otherwise, because what follows key is where most of the story happens, and it is not exciting at all. It just consists of you taking in the world, using whatever the plot is to explore both the setting and the characters. It's one of the reasons why Sonic X is really fucking boring, because as a show, it can afford to take its time before everything goes crazy, but almost
Oh God, I haven't thought about this anime or this cartoon even since I think this is airing in the early 2000s. Dude. Oh man, that is an old reference. I remember it being good, but I can never actually watch it at the time. And Rube, you mentioned, can you react to Giga's new anime ban? That one, I'm not sure I can because that's an official product he's made. I'm hesitant on those. I know Glitch, when I do, for example, Amazing Digital Circus or the new Knights of Guinevere, is fine with reactions, but I'm not sure about Gigguk's take on Ban. Is it Ban or Bon? I don't actually know.
The entirety of season 1 is a slice of life anime. You know, every story
I'd be fine with
technically is. It's just that Sonic's life is really exciting. You know how they say Ghibli movies don't have plots? Like nothing happens?
Yeah, Totoro.
I mean, I've watched Nausicaa had a plot. Like a pretty straightforward one, actually, and it was really good. It's one of my favorites. But I mean, even just what's the one about the goldfish? My wife is going to actually be upset about me if I forget that one. But that one had a very straightforward plot too, but it was a plot. It was literally just the freaking Little Mermaid.
Sucks. I think that's boring as shit.
Not my goal. Not my goal. I
Never
really
actually thought
think if
Totoro,
you're
though.
actively looking for the thing to
I need
happen,
to see Castle in the
you're not
Sky
gonna
and
see it,
Kiki's.
'cause this is it.
Wouldn't that just be called Slice of Life? I mean, I'm a fan of it, so that's fine. And Meep Meep, the SCP vids by Volgan, fair game. I'm actually not a big fan of Volgan stuff because I like the Exploring series better and I appreciate their take on it more. Where the Volgan is just very faithful recreations of the SCP files. Perfectly good, just I don't actually like the SCP files directly. I like having the interpretation that the Exploring series put into it. I'm a little biased, but I do love the overall world itself.
Is it boring? Maybe, but before I know it, oh shit, I'm crying over trees again. What? This is terrible writing advice, but it really is just vibes and feelings.
The phrase he's looking for is negative space. And while this is more of a term for movie making and live video or even video in general, it does effectively work inside of a novel. It's just harder because you're always putting something down, so you're always reading, you're always engaging. The way you achieve it in writing is by talking about something on the side. Like looking at how someone is impacted by the scenery. The way you fuck that up is by only focusing on the scenery, or what you need to do is then channel that into taking this thing I'm looking at, reflecting on how it relates to this person who I'm talking about, or my own internal thoughts, and finding the parallel between what I'm thinking and feeling and how the story is affecting me versus what I'm seeing outside. Because you have that little breathing room to stop and consider and think about what's going on. That would be the negative space, as opposed to the, I'm in a fight right now. I need to describe all the punches and how it's hitting me and what this means in my head. And like, yeah. In writing, or it's that way. In more video, it's slow sections of seeing someone moving. You're seeing them just walking through an environment or exploring or just doing something in the background. Maybe even a montage of them waking up. It's that kind of negative space where you're just taking a breath from the action to see how things are going on before something punches you in the face. An example of this in Lord of the Rings is most of the Fellowship. In between moments of excitement, it's them just walking through these big sweeping vistas. Those would be bits of negative space for you to breathe and just see that this is what it looks like. This is what it is. Some people are calling it ambient story. Actually, Crin is calling it ambient storytelling. Yeah, I've heard that phrase a few times. I usually just prefer negative space because it reminds you that you're not actively pushing content. You're giving people the downslope so that they can take a breath between moments of heightened intensity. Also, Meep just going, same, and I get that. And Leonardo, thank you for becoming a member for 5 months. God damn. What about the Burger Creek Changeling video? I did not know he made a Changeling video. That would be awesome. But I think if I do it, though, it will be the 9 Traditions, just because I need to get the baseline there, and that seems to be one of the most baseline videos. Well, the Changeling should be disconnected enough, it would be fine.
Shit, everything goes as you'd expect. Nothing even really changes. You just spend time in this world as it is and was before you got here. My favorite episode of...
I'm going to be honest here. That is a really weird mismatch of styles of animation. And I'm not just talking like the world, the girl, and Sonic. All three of them are completely different styles. There's Sonic, who is cartoony. There's the world, which is almost photorealistic. And then there's the girl, who is early CGI. Good, but not great. And all three of them together look like they're spliced, and it is so weird.
Sonic X is about Sonic bitching a meeting with the president so he can take his friend to this island she really wants to see, but can't. That's the whole episode. And it ends with Sonic watching as her father decides to make more time for her. Like a guardian angel. Right when you need him the most. Essentially, it's 06. Another story where nothing happens. Thematically speaking, it's about Sonic helping this girl with a burden bestowed upon her, all the while moving through this much more exciting plot, because 06 is not about Netflix, it's not about time travel or the world ending. It's about...
I don't know what 06 is. What is 06? Like, he's referenced about sometimes that maybe is the phrase. I don't know it. It's actually bugging me. Also, Roop, you mentioned, how about Tail Foundry videos? I don't know anything about them.
About Elise learning to let go, to not be a slave to her responsibilities as a princess, and to be free.
Oh.
That freedom, that's Sonic. He's the literal personification of the theme, as he often is. It's admittedly very fucking funny how different Sonic's story is from Shadow and Silver, because it focuses on this one girl's personal struggles where all the cool shit's going on in the background, but in essence, that's the point. The better half of the story is spent on making you invested in these characters, laying the groundwork for what's to come.
Whoa. That is a lot of buildings. Okay, even I recognize that one. I recognize Chaos, man. Come on, there's been so many references here that I do not know, so it's fine to see the actual Chaos, which is like, shit. Like, this early on as a kid was like, dude, this is awesome. And also very much if this didn't inspire Sin in Final Fantasy X, I would be very surprised. And Meep, you mentioned the first official vid request for you. Pattern Screamers by the Exploring series. Actually, I might have already watched that one on my own time. So that might be a problem. Although it's been long enough, maybe I can get away with doing it again. Was that Robotic in Chains? What did I miss?
10 is what we remember Sonic stories by. Think of Metal Sonic
10?
and Heroes, Gerald's plan being revealed in SA2. Something that shakes up the narrative.
He's talking about numbers of games, isn't he? Oh, okay.
To the point where everything before it just seems pointless. But it's not. Because the whole point of 10 is to test your emotional connection to the characters by turning everything you know upside down. The harmony you established, every foreshadowing, every bomb you planted in show blows up. And not necessarily in a form of a plot twist. It can be as simple as revealing something that puts everything you went through to a new perspective. That's why I don't like calling it a twist. I prefer chaos.
Oh, dear. Even I get that reference, man. Again, Sonic Adventure is probably one of the best games I played early on in Dreamcast. Also, yeah, I'm on a very caffeination trip right now. But yeah, something chaos that just fits, man. Also, I'm being told that was Robotnik's grandfather. Oh, yeah, he's the one who made Shadow, isn't he? He was actually a good guy.
Sonic Adventure's whole marketing revolves around this one sequence, and it doesn't even happen until after every campaign is already finished. Like, you see the fucking credits roll, and then the game hits you in the head with the biggest thing it has to offer. The very fact that there's even a story after the credits roll is kind of a twist. You notice how a lot of Sonic games end more than once?
Oh, they all do that? Again, I have not played many Sonic games. I did Adventure. I could never beat Sonic, and I only really got around to playing Knuckles. And then when you play Big Cat, I was like, oh, it's a fishing minigame. I'm good. I'm done.
It's the whole thing with the final story. Yeah, you're finished with your little ALtheBoi tournament.
Fucking aliens.
You thought you beat Eggman's evil plan. That's sweet.
Execution via firing squad.
Fuck it, we killed Sonic. Now generational trauma has manifested itself in the form of a sun god. Attack on Titan has like 6 cities. You spend an entire campaign basically vibing, then shit hits the fan. The funny thing is foreshadowing isn't even necessary. It can be some dumb shit, and if you're good enough, the audience just rolls with it because it's fun and cool. You can even you can write this part first and then work backwards to make it airtight.
See, what he's describing is actually a writing technique that is really hard to do, because usually when you write the ending first, when you get to the ending, your plot has changed so drastically that it's not worth keeping anymore, which is fine at that point if what you have now is good. But a lot of people put a lot of work on the ending, then they'll put a lot of work on the thing leading up to the ending. They write backwards and they feel like, oh, well, then I got to change this, and they end up rewriting the entire thing. What I'm describing is editing bullshit. Now, that might sound like I'm insulting the editing process. I am, because it is bullshit and it's probably the most important thing in the entire editing process. It's oddly enough also why I don't really care about people using AI writing, because if you're doing a good job writing, you're going to still edit the shit out of it, because anything an AI drops is just going to be the equivalent of a first draft that is bullshit, and you don't need to care about it, because by the time you're done, if everything is the same, you've done it wrong. And then there's those people who are freaks in nature who can actually just write an entire story from beginning to end without any missteps. And they just put down one page after the other every single day, and they're just done immediately. And somehow it works. Yeah, those people are freaks in nature, man. Even Stephen King, who does do that, gives it like 3 years between drafts so he can go back and edit them later. And there's a lot of people online who do serialized fiction that actually just does well. Also, Meep, you mentioned hunters looking for a vampire specialized in oblivion magic, but they find a pattern screamer. That would be terrifying.
It's fucking awesome. Ketsu is the aftermath of the twist and how the characters deal with it. Now, it doesn't have to be some big ass climax. The thing is, this is Sonic the Hedgehog, baby.
It's going to be a climax, man. Did he just fire a laser from a genie's lamp? Okay. That is the thing.
The heart though, okay? Underneath all this cool shit is a deconstruction of our themes, just like any good show.
Okay.
Sonic Adventure wouldn't hit nearly as hard if we didn't actually witness why Chaos was so pissed off in the first place. A lot of these bittersweet resolutions work because of how well their setup and subversions were. It's why even though Shadow came back, his death still hits, because the game is dedicated to show him off as much as possible before resolving it with him. Now compare him to like Sage, who the game just expects you to have an emotional attachment to just because she's cool, and then she dies, and I'm like, damn, bro, I barely know this kid.
Did not actually know that.
It's like going to a random guy's funeral. Like, is it sad? Fuck, I guess. Going back to the storybooks, different approaches, both are still bittersweet.
Secret Rings and the Black Knight. Okay, I've heard of the Black Knight. I didn't hear about the Secret Rings. Huh. Also, Ruby mentioned you recommend What is Anti-Villain by Tail Foundry. Wow, I can't speak to a Foundry. Maybe.
Sweet. Secret Rings barely has an ending, and it's fucking sick. I keep going back to these games because they're the most literal presentation of a Sonic story, because he literally falls out of the fucking sky into this pre-existing conflict. He is the inciting incident. The plot doesn't happen to him, he happens to it.
Oh god, I just realized they made a crossover with Sonic. They literally are the equivalent of online Sonic fanfiction, the game. Oh my god. They actually gave him armor. Okay. Is that a racing a car? Okay, that's fine. What the hell, man? He just blew the steam off the lamp. They knew what they were doing with that one.
And so, the legendary Blue Hedgehog, having saved the world of the Arabian Nights, ran endlessly until he found his way back into his own world.
That's the ending?
Along the way, he had many adventures. But those are stories for another time.
Yeah, we beat the bad guy, but we still have shit to deal with. Not everything is fixed like that. And that's okay. We tried our best, and that's all that matters. This world will go on even after we stop watching, just like how it existed before we came into it. It's that realism I talked about again. Because you don't often get closure for things, but...
I have no idea what game that is, and it looks awesome, though.
You know it's gonna be okay. You've done it before. What's another challenge? Don't worry about it. You've lived so far. Right?
And they did another leitmotifs video about Sonic. Oh my god. For anyone wondering what leitmotif is, I was going to describe a leitmotif as just someone's motif, but it's like that little twist in music where it's like you hear a few numbers together, it's like, oh, it's this character. If I just started whistling something from Ocarina of Time, you'd immediately know it's Link. I'm not going to, because that would get claimed because it's Nintendo. But it's that kind of thing. Huh. Dude. I need to go play Sonic games, apparently. I wasn't expecting that because I haven't done them in so long, but some of these, even though I've heard Black Knight is glitchy as fuck, it looks like it might be kind of fun to drop into that. And I never heard the Arabian one. I've never heard of any of these games. I've just kind of seen Game Grumps play them in the background because my wife loves watching that all the time. It's the easiest way to get husband points. Putting on Game Grumps and suddenly, oh, I've done a good job as husband. Nice. If it works, I'm going to keep abusing it. But I kind of want to find out more about what's going on in general. Also, I'm being told in the chat that 06 is Sonic from the year 2006. So it's the year, not the number of games. Okay, that makes more sense. Either way, though, I kind of want to find out what's going on here because it's interesting. And there's more that I wasn't even aware of. And I do like the idea of just the hero who is just good. And so you can have down moments. You can have quiet sections before getting that ramping up. Yeah! That's awesome. Either way, I'm just enjoying this. So for everyone watching, thanks. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hit up the videos. Did I say that? Oh, I didn't? Oh, you should probably do that. Do that too. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.